Kendrick Lamar had always been a master of lyrical warfare. He didn't just rap, he dissected his opponents with scalpel-sharp words, exposing insecurities they didn't know they had. When whispers began circulating about Drake sneaking subliminal shots into his latest album, Kendrick decided it was time to remind everyone why he was untouchable. The diss track, "The Throne's Mine," was pure venom. Every line was an incision, every bar a scalpel. It wasn't just an attack, it was a masterpiece, blending poetry and precision. By the time it dropped, hip-hop forums and social media were on fire. "Damn," Drake muttered as he listened to the track alone in his Toronto mansion. The lyrics stung, but more than that, they threatened his crown. Drake's team moved quickly, gathering to strategize. "What's the move?" one of his advisors asked. "We hit back," Drake said, "but not just with words. It has to be bigger, transcendent." 40, his longtime producer and confidant, hesitated. "I know someone," he said carefully. "He's experimental, weird, but if you want something groundbreaking..." Drake leaned forward. "Get him." 2 days later, Eidolon arrived at Drake's private studio. He was unlike anyone the team had ever seen, tall, thin, with pale skin and jet-black hair that fell to his shoulders. His eyes seemed to pierce through anyone who looked directly at him. "Your reputation precedes you," Eidolon said smoothly, shaking Drake's hand. His voice was unsettlingly calm, almost hypnotic. "I understand you seek something unique." Drake nodded. "Kendrick thinks he's got the crown. I want to remind him and everyone who really runs this." Eidolon's lips curled into a faint smile. "Consider it done." Over the next week, Eidolon transformed the studio into his personal temple of sound. He brought in strange, ancient-looking equipment, machines that hummed with an otherworldly energy, tuning forks carved with strange symbols, and speakers that emitted low frequencies that made the air itself feel heavy. Eidolon explained little about his methods, only that he was creating something called the void beat, a sonic structure that would resonate on frequencies most humans couldn't consciously perceive. It would be a track that got under the skin, into the mind. Unbeknownst to Drake or his team, Eidolon was weaving something far darker. Hidden in the layers of the track were chants, forbidden tones, and sounds derived from a sinister ritual. Eidolon was part of an underground cult that believed sound was the key to unlocking a doorway to another dimension. When the track, "The Void Speaks," was finished, Drake was blown away. It wasn't just a diss, it was an experience. The beat was haunting, almost alive, and the lyrics cut deeper than any track he'd ever released. "It's perfect," Drake said, handing Eidolon a check. Eidolon pocketed it with a cryptic smile. "This track will be unforgettable." The track dropped on all platforms at midnight. Within hours, it shattered streaming records. Fans called it the most powerful diss in hip-hop history, praising its hypnotic beat and raw emotion. But not everyone was praising it. By morning, reports began trickling in. Some listeners claimed they heard whispers behind the lyrics, voices murmuring things they couldn't quite understand. Others said the track gave them vivid nightmares of endless darkness. The first tragedy occurred 3 days later. A teenager in Atlanta attacked his family, mumbling lyrics from the song. In Paris, a fan threw himself off a bridge, whispering, "The void calls me." The track wasn't just dominating the charts, it was consuming the world. Kendrick sat alone in his studio, listening to "The Void Speaks." The moment he heard it, he knew something was wrong. The beat wasn't natural. The whispers beneath the lyrics were subtle but chilling, as if a voice was speaking directly into his mind. He stopped the playback, his heart racing. "This ain't music," Kendrick muttered. "It's a curse." Desperate for answers, Kendrick reached out to 40. "What did y'all do?" Kendrick demanded. I don't know," 40 stammered. "That producer, Eidolon, he said he could make something legendary, but he had books, symbols, I didn't think it was real. What wasn't real? Kendrick pressed. 40 hesitated, then whispered. He said he was summoning the rap gods. Kendrick's stomach turned. You let him bring that energy into your studio? People are dying, man. This ain't a game. Kendrick dug deeper, uncovering the truth about Eidolon's cult. They believed music was a gateway, a way to summon forces from another dimension. The feud between Kendrick and Drake had been carefully orchestrated to ensure the track's reach, millions of ears worldwide tuning into the ritual at once. The whispers in the track weren't just subliminal. They were the voices of something trying to come through. Drake's team announced a massive live debut of The Void Speaks at a sold-out stadium. Fans flocked to the venue, eager to witness history. Kendrick, knowing what was at stake, arrived unannounced. He fought his way through security, determined to stop the performance. As Drake began rapping, the crowd swayed, entranced. The air grew heavy, the bass rumbling like thunder. Kendrick pushed through the crowd, shouting, "Drake, stop! You don't know what you're doing." Drake glanced at Kendrick, confused, but the performance continued. The stage lights flickered, and a low hum filled the air, growing louder with each beat. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The center of the stage cracked, revealing a swirling black void. The crowd screamed as shadowy tendrils emerged, pulling people into the darkness. Eidolon appeared at the edge of the stage, his eyes glowing unnaturally. "The gateway is open," he declared. "The age of the void begins." Kendrick grabbed a mic, his voice booming through the chaos. "Drake, turn it off. It's not just music, it's a trap." Drake hesitated, then threw down his mic and sprinted toward the soundboard. But it was too late. The tendrils wrapped around him and Kendrick, pulling them both into the portal. The stadium was left in ruins, the crowd in shock. Emergency services arrived to find no sign of Drake, Kendrick, or Eidolon. In the days that followed, fans around the world reported strange updates in their playlists. A new track with no title, no artist, and no metadata. When played, it featured distorted voices, Kendrick and Drake's, over an eerie static. Their message was chilling. Don't press play. Don't listen. The void is alive. But curiosity was a powerful force. Millions pressed play, and the whispers grew louder, spreading further. The diss track had begun as a battle of egos. It ended as the dawn of darkness, and the void only wanted more.